Good morning. It's Monday, May 13th, and I'm here to tell you that the U.S. is one of just 9 countries to vote against granting new rights and privileges to Palestine. That's in the UN General Assembly. Now, why should Palestine earn any rights and privileges? If they didn't have those rights and privileges before October 7th, why are they entitled to it now? They started a war. They killed people. And now, because they are getting the shit kicked out of them, not several, but over 100 countries voted for them to have the right to join the UN. I think it's absurd. It's a gross act of antisemitism. And I know that I talk about antisemitism all the time, but I am telling you, when the UN Council, the General Assembly, brings this vote to the floor, it's just another attack on Israel. Israel is attacked more by the UN than any other country. So you got a small nation with maybe 7 million people being attacked by the many countries in the UN. And the one saving grace in all of these attacks is the fact that the US has veto powers. So anything the UN tries to do, the United States is one of 5 countries that can veto it. And they usually do. But sometimes, for some reason, they back down. But they didn't back down in this situation. The UN, the United States in the UN, vetoed this last proposal. In the UN General Assembly, they voted by a wide margin on Friday to grant rights and privileges to Palestine. The world body approved the Arab and Palestinian-sponsored resolution by a vote of 143 to 9, and there were 25 abstentions. And the U.S. voted against it, along with Israel and Argentina and Chechnya and Hungary and Micronesia and Nauru and Palau and Papua and New Guinea. They were all against this resolution. 9 out of 152 voters, with the 23 that couldn't make their mind up. So when you look at this vote, you see that there is wide global support for a full membership of Palestine in the United Nations. Now, why didn't this happen years ago? This could have happened years ago, but it didn't. But now it happens because of the war in Israel. So there are many countries that are expressing outrage at the death toll in Gaza and fears of a major Israeli offensive in Rafah, the southern city where about 1.3 million Palestinians are hiding, and they have sought refuge there. This also proved or demonstrated growing support for the Palestinians. And I don't see why the Palestinians are entitled to any support. For years, they did nothing to improve their situation. But a General Assembly resolution on October 27th calling for humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza was approved by 120 to 14 with 45 abstentions. That was just weeks after Israel launched its military offensive to Hamas's horrendous October 7th attack in southern Israel, which killed 1,200 people. So Friday's resolution gives Palestine some rights and privileges, but it also reaffirms that it remains a non-member member observer state without full UN membership. And it does not have the right to vote in the General Assembly or at any of its conferences. And the United States has made it clear that it will block Palestinian membership and statehood until direct negotiations with Israel resolve the key issues, including security and boundaries and the future of Jerusalem, and hopes that this leads to a two-state solution. I'm not so sure that the Palestinians are in favor of a two-state solution. And I'm not so sure that all those that are voting for them are in favor of a two-state solution. Because a two-state solution would mean that Israel will still exist. And I believe the majority, great majority of those who are voting with Palestine are in favor of the destruction and the demolition of Israel entirely. And the U.S. Deputy Ambassador Robert Wood said Friday that for the U.S. to support Palestinian statehood, direct negotiations must guarantee Israel's security and future as a democratic Jewish state, and that the Palestinians can live in peace in a state of their own. Well, this could have happened years ago. Palestinians were offered a state 5 times by the Israelis, and they refused every single time. So now, when they get themselves in deep trouble and are getting themselves kicked over, the rest of the world now all of a sudden wants them to have a state of their own, which they have categorically refused to do for many, many years. Since 2006, to be exact. Now, the U.S. also vetoed a widely backed Council resolution on April 18th that would have paved the way for United Nations membership for Palestine. Under the UN Charter, members of the United Nations must be peace-loving, and the Security Council must recommend their admission to the General Assembly. But under those conditions, Palestine became a UN non-member observer state in 2012. Now, the situation has changed somewhat. The new resolution determines that a state of Palestine is qualified for membership, dropping the original language in the General Assembly's judgment. It is a peace-loving state, therefore it's recommending that the Security Council reconsider its request favorably. So they are trying to push Palestinian membership into the UN, not recognizing that they are not a peace-loving state, that they are officially anti-Israel and have attacked Israel on numerous occasions. Constant bombardments of rockets from them trying to kill more people in Israel. So it's a shame that the Palestinians in Gaza got themselves into the position that they're in. It's a shame that 34,000 Palestinians have died. They deserve to die. They are the ones that started this mess, and now they're paying the price for their ignorance. So have a great day. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.